Sunday nights are for Scorecard on Channel 1 TV. And like I always say, depending on what side of the divide you belong to, this might have been a happy weekend for you, an indifferent weekend, or possibly a sad one. I know Liverpool fans have moved from sad to indifferent at this point. I was reading a few tweets of the Liverpool official handle announcing the next game against PSV. Some people say that the admin of Liverpool should stop threatening them with a bad time. That is how crazy the situation is. Arsenal, though, were showing why everybody is saying that they will win this Premier League title. It's theirs to lose at this point because against their bitterest rivals, they were absolute class in that encounter. In Spain, Barca were up to their own shenanigans. Real Madrid are currently in action as we speak. So there's a lot to chew on tonight on the show on Scorecard. Let's do a quick turnaround. When we come back, I'll introduce my two good friends and then we'll start talking. Back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me introduce my two good friends in the studio. Dennis, Charlie, what's good, bro?
Shall I do?
Everything cool.
Charlie, everything cool, yeah.
Yeah, your team win the episode.
Charlie, Charlie, Premier League games back, after the Nigeria debacle last weekend. Charlie, Premier League matches day. And watching your team 6 points behind the league leaders, it's not bad.
I like that. Coach, what's going on?
Annie Slot. La 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 la.
Where is this song coming from?
Is going to get the sack. And that was sack.
Where they were sacking?
I'm cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. This thing.
Thank you for echoing my sentiments. Elite managers and elite clubs don't lose 6 matches out of 7. That is relegation form.
Especially when
You spend so much money.
it's your team.
Yeah.
You spend close to $500 million.
That's lots of
What?
Yeah.
Annie Slot. La 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 la. Annie Slot
Oh, but
is going to get the sack.
see, your team is not doing well. People will start composing songs for your club and
You
things.
said and that was sack.
Oh no, coach, you're sacking. You're
So-
sacking. Let's begin the action today at Turf Moor, where Chelsea Football Club are really beginning to do well. They solidified their second place on the table with this win against Burnley Football Club. Away win. So very impressive for Chelsea. Let's get the highlights and then we'll come in studio and discuss. So Chelsea still missing out on Cole Palmer. It looks like they have adjusted to playing with him, at least in the not so big matches. Dennis, valuable 3 points, clean sheet on top of it. I mean, from a Chelsea fan standpoint, what would have excited the base the most?
For me, I think it's the fact that we're able to win in adversity. That's what would have excited the base. Because coming into this game, we knew Palmer was injured. We also knew that there's been so much exertions for Caicedo. Some of the players were a bit fatigued from the international break.
Yeah.
And we know what that can cause in Premier League. So for me, I know it's just Burnley, with all due respect, but the Turf Moor can be a banana peel for Premier League, top Premier League
Easily.
teams. Yeah. So, after international break, going there is always going to be a difficult game. And I was wondering how Chelsea will cope with the absence of Palmer, who has been absent for some time. But then we were all thinking that he was getting closer to recovery for us to get to hear that he's got injured again. And to see players like Andre Santos come into the team and perform well like they did, it's impressive. So for me, I think that for all the inconsistencies of Maresca and his team, I'm seeing some. There's been some improvement in recent matches. You can say that Wolves and Burnley are not the best tests for your team. I can see why coach is laughing. But for me, from
You beat what is in front of you.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying.
Don't mind this guy.
And I've told coach that you should expect a surprise next weekend when we meet Arsenal at Stamford Bridge.
Okay.
So there are a lot of things that will happen. For me, I'm delighted with the fact that we went there and we were able to win by 2 goals to 0. And impressive performances from Andre Santos. I think for players like that to come in and play well, knowing that we can give a rest to players like I said, who have been playing so many matches this season. Watching Cucurella continue to impress this season also. For me, I just want to see more from Delap and João Pedro. I like the fact that Pedro seems to be that kind of number 10 who knows how to touch the ball, the flicks, the passes, but he needs to get in more goals. And for me, for a forward, you are judged by your number of goals you're scoring. And I feel that is why we need a bit of improvement. If we can get Delap and Pedro scoring, then I feel that it could complement the efforts of Neto and Enzo Fernandez, who has been scoring in recent times as well. It's good for him. So for now, I believe that Chelsea is beating the teams that are in front of them, and they are showing a lot of signs that they can even improve.
Talk to me about the goal scoring situation, because that's what's been most worrying. Goal scoring, chance creation. Yesterday they got 2 goals. They kept a clean sheet. Dennis talks about being a little worried about Joao Pedro and Delap. I think that if Chelsea can compete for anything significant, those 2 must some way, somehow come to the party. So far, they get goals from everywhere else, and that has held them up to this stage.
You see, I don't know what the ambitions of Chelsea are this season. But one thing that you and I have learned from this league over the years is the fact that to win the league, you need to get that player that will guarantee 20+ goals.
Yeah.
I don't think Pedro and Delap will score 20+ goals. These 2, I don't think any of them will score 20+ goals. Because of that, it will be extremely difficult for Chelsea to win the league. Because look, you want your goal scoring responsibility to be spread out, though.
Yeah.
But there must be a lead goal scorer. When Liverpool won the league, Salah scores 20+ goals.
Yeah.
When Man City won it, Haaland, Aguero, they were scoring 20+ goals. So that's the way it's been. So these 2 guys, bringing them to be the lead strikers for Chelsea, Delap maximum season goal 12.
Yeah.
Pedro maximum season goal, I think 11 or 12.
Yeah. Just about the same.
Put together, the 2 of them, 24. So at the end of the day, whatever we are seeing of them is who and what they are. Can they improve? Yes, of course, because they are still very young. But the improvement, I don't know whether Chelsea may have the patience. Because if Chelsea couldn't hold on to Nicholas Jackson, I don't see where the patience is going to come from. Because I think over 2 seasons, he did extremely well, and he deserved to still be with this Chelsea team. He was silent. Look at the other boy, the Maguire boy. You and I know that in the big games, he's not going to give him, look at him. Chelsea could afford to actually rotate and get the result against Burnley. I was happy when, after praising, reality dawned on Dennis and realized, yes, it is Wolverhampton, yes, it is Burnley. This, you see, when you admit to such things, you can only get better in the future.
Yeah.
Because clearly, once we get to the business end of the season, most of the guys we saw yesterday, we are not going to see them. We are not going to, I don't, apart from maybe Cucurella and the goalkeeper and 1 or 2, we will not see most of them on Tuesday against Barcelona. They are not up to the standard. We will not see most of them again Sunday against Arsenal. This Chelsea team, I believe, if they had a bit more experience, especially as a number 9, they needed that experienced number 9, who the others can feed off whilst he's leading the line. That is what they don't have. They are too much of youthful exuberance. And such things naturally don't win you a league title. Because assuming this Chelsea team were to be leading the league, I'm not sure they can cope with the pressure.
No, they couldn't.
When Man City, Arsenal are coming, I'm not sure they can cope. So they have to be playing like the dark horses. Nobody expects us to. Nobody.
Then they can sneak
bam,
in.
then they stick in.
No pressure.
But even that, from the way this league has been run over the years, last season we saw them in a similar position as they are today.
Yeah.
And when it was posed to the coach, are you going to win? And he said, we are not ready for that. He quickly made sure that they were not in the title race. I hope on Tuesday or tomorrow, his press conference leading to the game against Barcelona, one of the pressmen will walk into that presser and ask, Mr. Maresca, you are 6 months of the league leaders in the Premiership. Can we see you, or do we consider you as a logical, serious contender? I want to see what he will say.
Yeah.
I think this time around, he shouldn't run away from that because they are World Club champions. So he should admit it and begin to work on the psyche of the player. It may not work out for them this season, But 2 seasons from now, where now they would have been classified as bunch of experienced players, then they would go out there to buy. But of course,
But not to catch you, I felt that before the season started, Chelsea could have fastened the project.
That's what I think.
And I felt that for the kind of players we had, if we had gotten just 3 experienced players in there, a good striker, get 2 experienced defenders who can lead
that's it.
the group.
They just need a few pieces.
They would have we just need a few pieces.
what they've not looked at, imagine, you see, when Thiago Silva came, look at the impact he had.
Exactly.
He won the
I
Champions
was
League.
just telling somebody a day or 2 ago that that's a player you don't sell.
Yes.
You don't let him leave. Even if he wants to leave, I don't know, find a way to co-opt him into your backroom stuff.
It's not even expensive to keep him there.
Yeah, keep him in because he's one of the few veterans left. And Thiago Silva is not just any veteran. He's as good as the most elite veterans in the world get. And those are the kind of players your youngsters will need if they are coming up.
You didn't mention Jackson. Yes. When Jackson left, you at least there's not if you want to move Jackson on, get a proper upgrade.
Yeah.
Look, most people haven't realized, but there's no player like Jackson in this Chelsea team. What he does, Pedro will not do. The lap will not do.
I'm just surprised that they've sort of lowered their expectations as a club, even though their expenditure has gone up. Because
it has to do with the owners.
Under Abramovich, they are not spending this much money coming off last season and then coming to decide if they are contenders or not. Under Abramovich, every season is a contending season.
You don't
and if you are not good enough, you need to go.
The standards are different.
Yeah,
now
I guess it's kind of crazy because now there's more money, the standards have lowered. So it's a little crazy for me. But let's take the action to St. James's Park, where Manchester City had the opportunity to go second on the table. But St. James's Park is always a really tricky place to go, and that's exactly how it proved. A really high-octane game with a lot of chances created, lots of missed opportunities, ended with Newcastle taking all 3 points. Coach, I'm sure from a coach's perspective, this is not a spectacle you will enjoy.
Not at all. But again, this is at St. James's.
Yeah.
You remember I've always said, and I even said it on Sports Panorama, that I would not be surprised if Newcastle were to beat Manchester City at St. James's. You see, look, I watched the game actually. I watched the entire game. And there were moments in that game where the level of physicality, look, did not resemble anything whatsoever of a football game. Football is a contact sport. We all agree to that. But when the contact is being administered in a way that is more or less aiming at getting your opponent hurt, you expect the referee to stamp his authority. I've always said that Newcastle at the St. James's Park are treated very different from all the other teams in the Premier League.
True.
And I've always said that it is the referees that have encouraged that. Look, they are overly physical whenever they play at St. James's Park, especially when the big boys come to town. Joelinton and Gumaresh and Tonali. And then share. Look, these guys are bulldozers. So yesterday, Man City, shockingly, their wide players were so poor. And I believe that was what they lost the game. Newcastle at St. James's, you will not be allowed to operate in that middle. With those 3 guys I've mentioned, Joelinton, Gumaresh, and Tonali, the way they played the game, it simply meant that you need to seek an alternative route. And that, in my view, was the wide man of Newcastle, of Man City. Doku yesterday, for the very first time, I've never seen a fullback match him 1-for-1. This Livramento boy. No wonder Pep Guardiola actually tempted Newcastle that he wanted to buy. In fact, the boy was interested in the move, but Newcastle stood their ground and said they will not let him go. He's a very solid fullback. 1v1 situation. Is he English?
He's English.
Yeah, he's English.
I think he goes to the World Cup.
Plays a right back and left back both.
He goes to the World Cup. No twos. And I don't know how Thomas Tuchel will want to deploy Rich James, but I think the only player who could bench him in that English team at right back is Rich James. Trent, all of them, he's better than them. So yesterday, Man City got eclipsed not only in the middle of the park, but also their wide wings. They couldn't. And we saw in the highlight, yes, they got some good chances, but if Newcastle were putting their chances away, the game would have been long gone before Man City actually regained some composure. But one thing again that disappointed me, you see, Pep Guardiola, without a doubt, I think is one of the best managers the game has ever seen. And after the Sir Alex Ferguson breed, I think the Fergie's breed, the last man standing, I think, is Carlo Ancelotti. He belonged to the Fergie breed. In the current breed, the Mourinho, Pep Guardiola breed, I think Pep, without a doubt, is the best. But there are times you want to question his obsession on winning football games. Look, as a coach, there are certain places when you go, you should be able to say that I'm not here to lose, but I'm not here to win at all cost. I think yesterday that was what caused Man City's defeat. After equalizing, naturally you expected them to take the steam out of the game and buy their way. If an opportunity were to arouse, then they pounce. But very shockingly, when they equalized immediately against Newcastle, it didn't take Newcastle 5 minutes to restore the lead. City, unlike them, instead of controlling the tempo of the game to calm it down,
I was just about to even mention that.
They were dancing to the pace of the game.
The game was too chaotic for me, like end to end. That's not a Manchester City type
No,
game.
and I was asking myself, is Pep not there? Oh, he's been shown a red card and sitting in the stand.
Maybe
he should impact it.
To be honest, since the season started, they've had less and less control than a typical Manchester City team. I don't know if it is the absence of Rodri not being who he is.
It is.
De Bruyne missing as well.
Because even in this game, there was something that was very, very, clear. You mentioned the right back Livramento
and then Doku.
But even on the other side, they even managed to overload the City rights laterals.
Yeah.
So they're just actually not defending well, but they were posing a lot of threats to the City.
I think it was O'Reilly on that side.
O'Reilly on that side. He was going through hell.
And then secondly, in that middle, you could see that anchor man,
Nico Gonzalez,
that was struggling very much
to live with the pace of
because they became so vulnerable to the counter attack. So any moment that they lose the ball in that central midfield point, there was always a counter attack.
Yeah.
And they, like he said, they couldn't get that control in midfield. So every single time that Gonzalez lost the ball, you could see that it was either the Bodamade or what's the other guy?
Tonali,
and then were just overlapping and creating a lot of problems for Manchester City. So I think that like he said, I think he has to find a different way of playing against these teams. And because you can't always gain that. If he has not had a control this season,
that would be essentially the Pep Guardiola style gone. Because
no, not necessarily. You should respect what is in front of you. We are the same people who would normally say you can only beat what is in front of you.
Yeah.
So by extension, you should respect what is always in front of you. So at the end of that's what I say, that you don't go into a football game and saying you want to go in there and win at all costs. There are times.
But that would be an admission, coach, that Manchester City have fallen off the level that they were on.
We all know that if you don't respect, again, the limitations within your setup, you always present yourself to get beat. Because at the end of the day, you remember I said it from week number 1. I said, this Man City team will not put fear
in anybody.
Now, because of that, now Pep is refusing to admit. Maybe he still believes it is the same team of the David Silva, the Kevin De Bruyne, the Kun Aguero.
To control a game, you need exceptional passes of the ball, players who can keep possession.
Look at how far they've fallen from the wing play. They had Mahrez. They have Raheem Sterling in his pumped. Compare it
Leroy
to
Sané at the point.
Leroy Sané compared to Doku and Silvinho and Oscar Bob.
Is
that the name of that boy?
Oscar Bob. Yeah.
Look, they're falling.
Yeah.
So
the standards are not the same.
As a manager, you should say, come on, these guys. So there are times where you have to micromanage them and control them. Yeah. That is what he's failing to do.
I think their position on the league table is a bit deceptive.
It is
because they've really played badly, but people like Haaland have carried them in a lot of games.
Liverpool have been extra bad.
Exactly.
If you look at the teams around them, they've been kind of indifferent. So it's like it's not a true reflection of what you are seeing for the
Again,
campaign.
you remember I told you some few weeks ago that the over-reliance on Erling Haaland, once it is figured out,
Because he can't score every day.
Villa blocked the channel to him.
Yeah.
Yesterday we saw Newcastle do same. And on all occasions, they tend to lose games when he doesn't score.
Interesting there. Let me get a few messages here before we take our first break on the show. This one here is from Kobe Baden, watching from Dansoman. It says, Liverpool fans, Monsori, not slot a good team. No. He says, on a more serious note, I remember coach once said the next manager will not struggle with Liverpool or Man City because of how the team has been built, but Slot has decided to change and collapse the system that Klopp built. Nana JC from Koforedia says that from all indications, Slot is bereft of ideas. The earlier Liverpool sack him, the better. Hashtag Liverpool will rise again. This one here says, I don't know why Anna Slot keeps playing the Dutch players when players like Gakpo and Gravenberg are not playing to expectation. Dan from Ablekuma says, Ben, I feel your pain. The Slot machine is terrible. Playing players out of position and refusing to change Salah even when it's clear he has lost form and fitness. At best, he should be a super sub. The Liverpool bus is stuck in the Nottingham Forest. We need a towing truck. Baba from Tamale says, I'm glad God created me to support Arsenal. This one here from David from...
You see, you can feel the pain in Baba's voice. They've gone through some serious pain over the past 20-something years. 23 years now. Arsenal.
They need to win this title, though.
If they don't.
David from Afanko says, good evening, Ben and team. I'm indifferent to your opening statement. That is, this is the season where Arsenal will win the league. Arsenal, like every year, are just keeping the top spot for eventual winners. Chelsea, the Blues. Good evening to coach. Ben from Afanko again says, looking at how things are going at Liverpool, I think it's time they sack the bald fraud, Annie Flop. From all indications, he can't do anything good to help the team. Hoping for a United win tomorrow. Regards to Coach Nimley. Okay, so Abdul Wadud, watching from Abua, says Liverpool went to the Forest to bring ham, but came home with Nottingham. You are using Liverpool to test out your poetry skills. Anyway, let's take another break here on the show. When we come back, our first break actually, when we come back, we'll get to the first tactical breakdown for the day, so it should get interesting. Let's go for the break. When we come back, we'll get into tactical analysis. Welcome back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let's get into more highlights. This time, the tactical breakdown is ready. It's that game between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. Happened at Anfield. Liverpool had lost 3-0 to Manchester City before the international break. They were expected to correct their errors and come back better. They learned nothing during the break. Hammered another 3-0, this time at home by lowly Nottingham Forest. Let's get the highlights. The tactical board now, and let's figure it out. Coach?
Okay, so there's a lot to talk about here. I will not spend too much time on the first goal, but what is shocking to me on that first goal is the fact that these were not the sort of goals that Liverpool were conceding under Jurgen Klopp. Under Klopp, hardly would they concede from a set piece or from a corner kick. The shocking part of this first goal is the lack of proactivity, the lack of reaction when the ball dropped loose. If you roll this, as you can see, when the corner kick was taken, there, bounce. You expected, look at the number of Liverpool bodies in there.
Yeah. Literally the whole team is back in the box.
Anytime I see such things, it just reminds me of John Terry, Ricardo Carvalho, Nemanja Vidic, and these people. You would have seen them throwing their body on the line to block the ball. But nobody did. Nobody even attempted to do it. And this is a centre back. Normally the centre back will not control the ball. Look, he controls it.
His first touch was so good. For a centre
the first
back.
touch was to set him up, and then he...
Ball just dropped in front of him
The
and he
Liverpool
finished it.
body language was so bad. I'm not going to waste time on this. Look at the second goal. This, to me, in my view, is the worst of all the goals they conceded. And this goal actually confirmed how confused the manager is. I have never seen a system like this before. The shape of the team was completely in tatters. 6s and 7s. Watch this. I'll allow this to go, then I will bring it back, and then I'll pause it. And you see something there. Okay, so now it's gone. Now, let me bring it back.
Bring it back. Oh, there's a little replay that was coming.
Okay, let the replay go, and then I'll show you something. Okay, so now let's pause it there.
I think you can take it back.
You wait. Let the replay go. I'll pause it where I want to pause it to show you something. It is so bad. Pause it here. Now look at it. What sort of shape is this? Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 10 players in the game, isn't it? 10 outfield players. Liverpool in the build-up to this goal, in the build-up to this particular goal here, look at the number of Liverpool players. 5 of them, all of them, passive. From the side, though, not direct. See, when your shape is settled, you expect to see such things in the middle of the park. Not in that. And then look at the icing on the cake is Gakpo. Gakpo virtually sleeps on the job. Look at him. Look at him here. And this player. Look at the two of them together with the Nottingham Forest. This is the scorer of the goal for Nottingham Forest. One would have thought, per the shape of the team, Gakpo would have realized the danger and followed the player in the box.
Yeah.
He stayed and he was called ball watching. So when you release this, the guy just go. By the time he realized, he was playing second fiddle to the guy. And there you go, bang into the back of the net. This Liverpool team, this particular goal, Dennis, told me something very basic. And this had just happened after, this was, I think, this 46 minutes.
This was right after 60 seconds after they came out of the recess. Literally right after the break.
So that should tell you what actually happened in that dressing room. Is it that they're not listening to the coach any longer? After the game, I've listened to Van Dijk. He said they are disappointed, not only the coach, but themselves and the fans. Look, this is why you are paid thousands and thousands of pounds.
Yep.
Every Friday, every week, it hits the account. It hits it. Once you are, you must play for the badge. And this is the defending champions of the league.
Yep.
The defending champions of the league. And you should be doing better. Now look at the third goal that they conceded.
That was such a good goal. Hutchinson completely ripped Robertson apart on the wings.
This is elementary. A long diagonal. He controls the ball here. First and foremost, Mr. Robertson, you are one of the experienced players in this team. I think this is too big a gap. On a 1v1 situation, that is too big a gap. And once you give him this space, you have to show him onto his weaker foot. Hutchinson here is left-footed.
Yeah.
So per your position, show him the bar line.
And you are left-footed too, so you know how left-footed players play.
So position your body, and he could have even delayed. Let me see whether I can. Look at the support. Look at the support.
The arrow, you need the arrow. Not the spot.
Okay,
like the arrow.
not this one, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, here.
Yeah.
Okay. That is good. There you go. Now, look at the support. Look again. Look at the gap there.
Too wide.
Too wide. And look at the huge space behind there.
Yeah.
Can you see any Liverpool player in the picture here? Here?
Nope.
So, look, everything was so bad. No shape, nothing. Now, when you roll this, Mr. Robertson, show him onto your right foot.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand this
Why
boy.
this person closed?
He's so inexperienced. You can pardon him for that. What is the name?
Rio Ngomoha.
Ngomoha. Very inexperienced because his movement should have been like this. Let me go and cover Robertson and push Robertson to come and commit to the tackle. But he didn't do that. And now look at the entire Liverpool team. When you roll this again, he pounces, pause. Where is, you see, here, the biggest problem here, you cannot see any of, there you go. You cannot see any of the Liverpool DM in picture. Where are they?
Even the defending here is suspect because look, it's so
The
casual.
defender is subset.
So
very
casual.
casual. But look, at this time, the coach has completely dismantled the shape of the team. We didn't know who the DM was. We didn't know who the two midfielders
were. Yeah.
No, this is McAllister. This is Van Dijk. Look, you may want to blame Konate for all you can. But when the substitution was made, I told you something that if I was the coach, I would have rather taken Van Dijk out of the game. Because prior to this third goal, Konate had covered the situation 3-4 times where Van Dijk, who is supposed to be the last man, orchestrating and controlling everybody, was nowhere to be found. Mr. Slot is seriously confused. And all the goals they conceded sums up the level of confusion in the system. That I don't even know which system they are playing. Do you know Ingetia?
I don't.
I don't know which system.
I don't. He says that
to every system, there's a proper defensive shape.
Yeah.
Per where the ball finds itself,
in fact,
there's the way we line up.
And I like that statement you made, because the one thing that the tacticals decided to use to distinguish Slot and Klopp is that Klopp's team is not too bent on keeping their shape because it's a counter-pressing team. So they are more prone to losing their shape. And Arne Slot's team is obsessed with keeping control. Some way, somehow, we never seem to see that control either at the back, either in the middle, or even up top for the team.
Isaac,
struggling.
No shot on target.
That's 5 games now.
We could count the number of times
he's had 1 shot on target in 5 matches.
No. It is the system, and that is on the coach.
Mikel Arteta completely ecstatic on the touchline, and rightly so. Nothing. In fact, this is Arsenal's biggest game of the season.
Yes.
And they were in dominant form.
Look,
coach.
when the game started, and we're doing the game on the Republic of Football, I was of the view that Spurs had the best system going into the game because they were playing against their rival. They needed to keep themselves very, very tight. So it took Arsenal close to 20-25 minutes to figure it out. And what Arteta did was to bring off the number 9, the so-called decoy number 9 in Moreno, to get him to come into the midfield and allow Saka, Eze, and Trossard to do the off-the-ball runs on the blind side of the Spurs' back line. It was a back 5 that was very compact. The only time they went to sleep was when they considered the first goal. So if you roll this, if you play this, and we go, you see it again, you see it better on the replay. So on the replay, then I'll pause it. Let's go. Pause it here. Good.
I think you can just come back a little. Yeah. Can go back to almost the beginning. Yeah.
Yes.
Let it roll.
Then let it roll. I'll pause it, then I'll say what I want to say. Pause. This is the movement. Now look at it. Mr. What is the name? Spence, eh?
Just Spence.
Just Spence. You see, at this stage, he was closer to the goal scorer, the two of them there. Look at the Spurs back line. They have their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, their back line. The only place where the gap seems a bit wider was the gap between Spence and Mr. Danso. That was where you can clearly see that the gap there, in my view, was
big enough.
It's big enough to be exploited. So at this stage, Mourinho had nowhere to go. Because look at the positioning of Palhinha. Perfect. That guy is a master in that role. Perfect. Mourinho looks right. You realize there was nowhere to go. Everything there had been blocked. Everything right had been blocked. Spurs had a proper defensive line cover there. Then he checked. Now, when he checked, at that time, Trossard had already realized that this guy was too focused on the ball. So that was the blind side of him. So Trossard's movement took him behind him in this gap here. Who should have followed Trossard? Mr. Spence. Because at this stage, he was the only person who could see
the player.
See the player. You see, there are times where the intelligent ball winners or defenders, they can read and see the situation and then take their decision. He went to sleep and look at the ball. He turned on to look at the movement. Did you see that?
That's crazy. He just froze.
He just froze. And I was asking myself, why did he do that?
Yeah.
Let me just bring this back.
That didn't make any sense at all. Because he looked like he was engaged with the situation.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Now, when I play this, pause it. He just stood there.
Yeah.
If you roll this again, pause. He just stood there. And I was asking myself, come on, you are with him.
Yeah, you're
So
supposed
that
to
is
follow
your
him.
marker. Follow him there. Follow him there. That is your marker. He didn't do that. He froze. And at this stage, the game was so tight that Arsenal needed to score first to get Spurs to open up a bit for the game to flow. And once they did that, somebody would say, then the floodgate got opened. And then they started going. But look, I think without a doubt, the day belongs to the young man, Eberechi Eze. Look, his talent has never, this is the second goal actually, but I'll prefer this goal to the first one. His talent has never been in doubt. My only biggest problem with him is what he brings to the team when the team is not in possession of the ball. So if you realize at Palace, because they are not a ball dominant team, the coaches prefer to put him out wide. Because the work that was being done in the middle, he couldn't cope with the intensity. But in this Arsenal setup, they are enjoying possession all the time. So he's being played in his favorite number 10 position. So look at the position he's always occupying. The first goal we saw was within the arc. Again, look at where he finds himself. He finds himself in the situation or in an area where he can easily go and then punish whoever he wants to punish. That is Eze. Okay? Now, if this is Eze, all this area here, everything here belongs to him. Everything there belongs to him. So he picks up the ball. Look at the pass, control, and he's already blocking. He knows that he's within the arc, and that is the goalpost. So if he can get his body shape, but look at the way he turned away from the guy. He just turned, and then you could see him using his hand this way.
I feel like those are the little things that separates like players like this from the regular
Exactly.
players. The moment the ball came, he knew what he wanted to
to do. He had already seen the huge gap on his left. So you see, when the pass goes like this, he allowed the ball to roll onto his left foot, and then he's placing it.
Meanwhile, he's right-footed. Somebody probably might have tried to control
with the right,
and then the chance would have gone.
He had seen that the Spurs' shape at that area was so bad, and once he did that, that was, I think, to be highlighted though. Mohamed Kudus went to sleep.
Yes, he was.
Because he, per the movement, he should have been alive to the situation. You see, watch this.
He's behind Eze in this play.
At this stage, he could clearly see.
Could anticipate the pass.
Because look at the gap I've created here. Where was the DM? Again, Bentancur, Paulinho, all of them out of shape. Completely
was terrible.
Completely terrible.
So acres of space. He could have even passed the ball on if he wanted to.
It was not only Eze. There was what?
I think that's Calafiori.
Any of them, you control here, you shoot at goal. So again, bad on the part of Thomas Strand. He has to look at this. At this stage, they had abandoned the back three, back five thing, and he's taken off and he's wanted to go and chase the game. But I think the icing on the cake was the day belongs to the man who says everything he does is controlled by Jesus. Eberechi Eze, I'm told, is a very strong Christian, and he's never shied away from getting himself glued and letting the whole world know that he believes in Christ. And look at that goal again. Look at the third goal. Look at it. Look at the touch. Look at the touch. You see, the first touch.
Well, what was happening to Spurs?
He took Odogu. What is that name? Odogi away. Odogi thought he was going to hit it one time.
That's why he was trying to slide across.
But he's already seen him.
He let the ball just roll across.
He's the type of player who will survey his area before he picks up the ball. And you can, in all the three goals he scored, he did exactly that. He surveyed, okay, there's no way here, and then he did that. And look, once he controlled it, once he had that first touch, the goalkeeper, no chance whatsoever. No chance whatsoever. And for you to have scored a hat-trick.
This is his first North London derby.
Yeah. Come on.
And I think this is the first
career hat-trick
in the North London derby in 50 years.
Wow.
In 50 years.
Wow, that's impressive. Because some of the most elite strikers have played in this game. And he's not even a striker.
Yes.
Yeah, to come into this game and do it like this.
Again, let me just say something. Let it come back again. Let me just say something. Again, Mr. Thomas Strand, Just as I'll criticize the shape of Liverpool, look at this. Where are the specific players? Let's go again. You see. Pause it here. Look at this. Look at this large, vast area. Look at this. After considering this is the first versus 18. Look at this. Nobody there. Where are they? Where are they? Nobody. Nobody there. No center back, no defensive midfielder, no full back. Look at where, even Odogu, look at where he had to come from.
Yeah.
Look at where he had to come from. And when you roll this, he's not coming. Come on, man.
But you know, interestingly, you see, when you see before the game, per the plan he had, Thomas Frank, the fact that he wanted to play.
Look, he had a good plan.
He had a good plan. But you see, the execution of the plan in the first 10 minutes was not the best. Because you see, what he did was that as much as they had 3 at the back, what was happening that they were losing the ball in the midfield because Arsenal had crowded the midfield.
Look,
and then
that is where I nearly forgot, but I should have pointed. That is where I had a problem with the Ghanaian.
Kudus Mohamed.
Yeah, I had a problem with him today. Because, look, truth be told, the back 5-3 transition, and then the 2 holding Bentancur, and then what? Palhinha. Spurs had 2 number 10s before Richarlison. And naturally, you expect the outlet to come from the defenders or the 2 DMs to the 2 number 10s. And most of the balls that went to Kudus,
he lost it.
In the first 20 minutes,
he lost them.
He couldn't keep any of them. So the turnovers were
keep putting pressure on
the team until they collapsed. Until they collapsed.
Let's talk about Bayern Munich, because Arsenal played Bayern Munich. Let me take your thoughts on that. I'll take coach's thoughts on that. Midweek Champions League action, and that's a few days after this, you are back in action again. What kind of challenge does that present to them? Because Company's team is high flying, known for their offense, and then there's Arteta. So basically, offense versus defense. What kind of game are you expecting?
For me, I think first of all, this match gives them a lot of confidence going into that game. The Bayern game is going to be basically their toughest game this season in recent times, because Bayern themselves have been looking really good, very explosive.
1-6-2.
Exactly, and they're playing in a similar way. They like to get control of the ball.
16 out of 17.
Exactly, and players like Olise, Kane are firing from all cylinders. Musiala is yet to come back. So they also have a very, very good team. And they play in a similar way because they also like to have control of the ball.
Yeah.
But what I think Arsenal could use is that counter-attacking ability in Eze, in Saka, and then probably in Trossard. Because I'm sure this is a game where they will not have to have too much control, but rather wait to counter Bayern anytime they have the chance to. So I think that this game gives them that yardstick to know that, yes, they've done it. Because at this point, they're in good spirits. And the thing about Arsenal is that what you see from there is hunger. And even today, even the players that were injured on the bench, you could see the hunger they had. They feel like there's some target they really want to achieve.
Somebody told me that, I think it was last season or last 2 seasons, when Rodri pointed at his head with regards to a game against Arsenal. I think Arsenal drew that game and they were celebrating the draw. And Rodri was basically saying that the mentality of this team is weak. Well, I have an Arsenal insider who told me that they were extremely upset with the portrayal of their team as a bunch of guys who were not hungry and got to guys who have not won enough. So they kind of took it personally coming into this season to change the narrative about them that, you know what, you guys are not winners, you don't have a lot of winners in your team, you are bottlers. So I think Arsenal, like you rightly said, maybe, like I said, this is their biggest game of the season, but also, like you already said, even the players on the bench embodied a certain type of body language and hunger that shows that this might just be our campaign.
And it's very visible when you see them on the bench. You see that there's a common purpose they're all fighting for, to finally get their hands on this league. But I think that for the Bayern game, they have what it takes to go past Bayern. I know how difficult a position that's going to be, but they're playing at the Emirates. And that's what they have to take advantage of. That the whole crowd is going to be behind them. Bayern themselves are going to sit back. They will try to attack them. Makes it possible for them to get the host. But the matches are going to be small. It's going to be very difficult. But I think Arsenal has got what it takes to go past them.
Should be a difficult game. Just a few thoughts on that game.
I think it's going to be a very difficult game that we've all accepted. The one thing that Arsenal themselves will have to be very careful about, the Bayern opposition will be very different from this. One thing that Bayern will not do is the turnovers that they enjoy today. The Kimmich, the Kane, the Olise, the Nabri. Those guys
Better
are
at retaining possession.
better at retaining possession. And in tight situation, they've got what it takes to release themselves. So Arsenal will have to approach the game in a very smart manner and use their wide. I think Bayern's biggest problems are the fullbacks. They are not playing natural fullbacks as fullbacks. And Arsenal major weapon are their wide men, Saka, Trossard, and then with Eze in the hole. Arteta will have to insist that when they are not in possession of the ball, players like Eze, players like Saka and go. When the Bayern because Bayern play in such a way, when they are in possession, their fullbacks are bumping forward. So you cannot leave their fullbacks together with their wingers to only Timber and Calafiori to deal with. Saka will have to fall back and assist. One thing they don't want to do is to get Bayern to score first. And then they abandon their very solid defensive framework and begin to chase the game. Bayern will exploit the spaces that they will leave. So Arsenal will need to play smart, get the first goal, and Bayern, being Bayern, will get angry and want to show up. There you
But I
go.
think what could also encourage Arsenal is that Bayern, as good as they are, concede goals.
Yeah, they do concede
They do
goals.
concede a lot.
They do concede goals.
Especially from dead balls. Consider 2 goals from corners. Same situation, same scenario over the weekend. Let's take our second break here on the show. When we come back, we'll take you into some other leagues because there's a lot happening around the various leagues in Europe. Stay with us here on Scorecard. We'll be right back. Back to Scorecard here on Channel 1 TV. Let me get into more messages before we go to our next batch of highlights. So this one here is from Reverend Leonard Avle. He says that please, after the discussion, he says, give us the table, especially Premier League and La Liga. I think we should do that for you these days. We display the various tables just so you have an idea. So Daniel Texan from Cape Coast says that there's nothing sweeter than getting an Eze hat-trick against your noisy neighbors. 4 more for Arteta if he wins the EPL. This one here says, good evening to you guys. Why are you worried about Chelsea's defense? We are literally the second best defensive team in the league behind Arsenal. We are beating both Barca and Arsenal easily. So just wait and watch. we are here. No
We'll wait
problem.
to see.
No pressure.
I very much align with that.
You are very much aligned with him.
very much aligned.
Nice one. Rafael Vigno from Taifa says, tell coach that I will personally manage him. I like his composed song, Man United for life. So you have a manager. Farouk Headliner, inside Lakeside, says that in regards to what coach is saying about having a 20-goal striker, I don't think City had one when they won the PL in 2020-2021. But even that, I'm not even sure about that. But even that, I'm sure it was an anomaly. And if you know how Manchester City play, Raheem Sterling was scoring over 15 goals.
It was 17 goals.
Leroy Sané was scoring. Like,
Aguero
there were
was
goals
scoring
from everywhere.
Double figures.
Almost about 4 players could get into double figures.
That's
So
it.
in the end, it really didn't matter. This one here is from Kinmela from Ashaiman. He says, well, we've come to the realization of how bad Arne Slot is as a manager. Imagine him dominating and beating Alonso's Real Madrid. As a Real Madrid fan, I think Alonso is even worse than Slot, and he needs to be shown the exit door.
That was a one-off. Maybe the guy is responding after the 2-2 draw today.
Charlie, football fans have become very impatient too. Alonso needs to be shown the door. Wow, I can't believe it. Anyway, Fred from Elubo says that I wonder why coach doesn't acknowledge the efforts Maresca is putting into his youth and inexperienced squad to get results. Maresca needs to be commended.
I've always done that.
I think he's commended him, yeah.
He's doing well, but is he as to they winning the league? That is where I wish they had the
It takes a different level
the
to win the
pressure
league.
that comes with that.
Expectant of the league title.
Yeah.
Actually. I don't think they are.
You are saying the same thing from last season.
Oh, but we just.
So you are not contenders.
We are not contenders.
This one here says Arsenal will surely win the treble this season. We are the team to beat, trust me. King from Ketekrachi. This one's from Kofi from Kotobabi. He says that I've seen Arsenal lead the league by 13 points in February, but managed to bottle it to City in the end. Until Arsenal is being announced as the winners of the league, I will never believe that they are the ones who are going to win this title. Hey, Charlie. This one here is from Savage from Burma Camp. He says, if Richarlison didn't score for Tottenham, Van de Ven would have been their best player of the game. Congrats to Chelsea for winning yesterday. More messages. This one says, I feel the fans' pain and hearing their manager saying defense is not their priority. Like how anyone wants to steady their progress for Man United and size 55 Captain Maguire, and watch out for Mason Greenwood. He's a big thing. Okay. I want to read more messages. This one says, Man United is winning 3-1. Shout outs to you guys for doing a good job. This one says, why is Liverpool giving away points like that? That's from Omar from Tema. I'll come back to the message box in a bit, but let's go on to some other stuff. Let's go to the new Camp Nou. The Spotify Camp Nou is what they call it. Barca have reopened the Camp Nou. I think it was open to just over 30,000 fans on their return, 45,000 on their return. So a good number coming in there to witness the return. So let's get that game. They were up against Athletic Club. They won that game handsomely. So let's get the highlights. Trivela pass for the second goal by Lamine Yamal. Sweet stuff.
Oh, he's an absolute delight.
That's like a 30-yard or 40-yard crossfield.
He's an absolute delight of a player to watch.
Man.
Look, at his age, if you look at the sort of things he does, if he's properly managed and the people around him keep him focused on the game of football,
I think that's the most important
I think
part.
that boy will be one of the best players we've ever seen. After the
Messi,
Ronaldo, look, he's that good. And the fact that he's now deciding when to hold on to it, when to let go, he's surveying before taking the decision is very, very brilliant. I watched this game.
18?
Yeah, I think
It's about 18 or 19.
18, 19 years. But
Crazy.
he's that good. And for Barcelona, it was the return to the Spotify Camp Nou, and they needed to win. And you could see the motivation in the players' body language, their intensity, what their approach towards the game, the hunger.
And this game had the tendency to be tricky.
Very, very tricky. And they were not going to allow that to happen. So from the word go, they were pouncing, they were playing Omo in midfield alongside Garcia. Because don't forget, they were missing both Pedri and then De Jong. So it was a makeshift sort of midfield with Garcia, Omo, and Fermin Lopez. And the chemistry I saw among the three of them, as if they had played together for a very, very long time. But this is what you see, or what you expect when the system is embedded
It's a Barcelona thing.
in the DNA of the players. Who needs who? Whoever finds himself there will get the job done. And I think it was a brilliant victory for them.
Midweek game against Chelsea, Dennis. What kind of challenge does that present to this young Chelsea team? I remember Barca visited an English team already in Newcastle. Newcastle, from the testimony that guys like Guimaraes gave, they say that they came in to be physical, but they couldn't even touch the Barcelona players to even put their physicality into the game. What kind of match is to be expected?
It's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be very, very difficult for both teams. I think what Chelsea has is history. History has taught us that it's always not an easy game for Barcelona anytime they meet Chelsea, especially if it's going to be at the Stamford Bridge. So it's going to be difficult. You know, in terms of personnel, yes, you can say that Barca team looks a bit, more, even though they're also young players, but they look a bit more experienced than what Chelsea has got. But
they are missing some key guys too.
Exactly, missing some, just like how Chelsea is also missing some key guys. So I feel that it's about how efficient Chelsea is going to be on Wednesday, because they cannot afford to miss chances against Barcelona. Because what Barcelona has is that cutting edge up front. In Lamine Yamal, in Olmo, in Lewandowski, those are ruthless forwards. And and Chelsea has to be ready for that kind of game. So it's a Champions League game. There's enough motivation to play at Stamford Bridge, and there's also history to guide Chelsea that it's a match that they can actually go and win. And we've seen it happen before. So as much as I think Chelsea will be underdogs for that game, I also believe that they have what it takes to get something positive out of it.
Yeah, I think it will come down to chances created and what utilized. Nobody will create more chance than Barcelona. If they show up, they dominate, they create the best chances. So if they were to lose, is because they failed to score. My worried, I think in midfield, Chelsea has got the men to stifle and make life a bit uncomfortable for Barcelona. Like Caicedo, I think Rich James will be brought into midfield and Malo Gusto played outright. And then Enzo Fernandez will be playing as a number 10, but dropping in to make them look very compact. My problem is with the Chelsea centre-back pair.
Okay.
Can they handle Robert Lewandowski?
What pair would they even have
on the day? I'm not sure. So surely they cannot put Tosin Aderabioyo there because he will be very, very disastrous. For him, I don't trust him at all. So the two guys, they need to decide who will handle Lewandowski. Because Lewandowski, anytime he plays, does not only move sensibly, but he gives Barcelona that variation. He's a target man. He can play with his foot. He can bring people into the game. So there has to be a way of dealing with that.
And he scores half chances.
That's it.
I think that's the scariest part about it.
Already in 3 seasons, he scored over 100 plus goals for Barcelona already.
A lot of people said was finished.
So look, we'll wait to see what happens on Tuesday. But I think it is going to be a very, very good game.
A good game it should be. Let's go to Italy and let's check out the action from Artemio Franchi. Fiorentina were up against Juventus. Juventus have now gone 3 games without a win. Remember, they sacked their manager not too long ago. Still struggling. Not a lot has changed. Let's get the highlights. Take coach's thoughts on Juventus quickly. Coach, what do Juventus need to do to get back to being an elite team again? Because it looks like after the departure of Cristiano Ronaldo, it's been downhill since for the club.
I don't know. Maybe they don't have money. So if you look at the sort of players they are buying now, they are not buying established players. They are more or less grooming. They will buy the best players in Italy. Right now, if you look at them, they don't even go closer to such players.
And to put that in context, they were embroiled in some financial scandal just not too long ago.
Exactly. So I think whatever we are seeing of them is actually what they are now. From those men in the boardroom, those guys that have the cash, they cannot afford to compete. Because if you look at Italy now, it seems like Inter Milan and Napoli, and to some extent AC Milan now, are buying the best players. Okay? So the level of the players they've got, this is what they are capable of doing.
Wow.
So that undulating performance, occasionally is Juve, they will show up in the big games and they'll win. But they're consistently required to get them to compete. I think they are 2-3 years behind
the rest of the
Inter, Napoli, these two. And for me, it will take them a very long time before they can restore.
And I also think they've gotten rid of some decent players. I know Federico Chiesa had his own issues with injury, but they didn't hesitate to get rid of him.
I think he was a high earner, so they were in a hurry to move them.
On.
Like Coach Riley said, the finances have been strained. So if you notice, they booted out all their big established names. And they're even looking to sell, I think that was the Serbian guy,
Vlahovic. He's in his final year. They're not thinking about renewing the contract. But he's on a high wage.
It looks like they are trying to streamline their finances. Let's go to Napoli. They were up against Atalanta in what was another top liner for the Serie A this week. Was Napoli winning convincingly in that one. Let's get the highlights. So Napoli missing big players like Kevin De Bruyne and co. Didn't matter really. Dennis, they got their win in the end. Very comfortable too.
Yeah, and I think it's positive for them after some rough patches in recent games. It was very important for them, to get over the line in these kind of games. And these are games that you should win at home if you are a team actually contesting for the league table and for the league title. And I wasn't surprised that they came off. You mentioned De Bruyne and a few players they are missing, but if in this kind of games you can't win without De Bruyne, they are not to have any business in trying to win the league. So I think it was an important win, knowing that, especially now that Roma has managed to go on top of the table. So there's a 2-point gap from the top and making them, at least keeping them in the title race for the season. So I think it's positive for Napoli to get over this one.
It would be crazy if Gasperini takes Roma to the title.
Exactly.
That would be crazy because they don't have they have a decent squad. They don't have the best team in the land.
I think they managed to do some smart recruitments without necessarily spending a lot of money, but they managed to get in some good players. And I think they fused it with some of the old guys in Cristante and
Paulo Dybala.
Paulo Dybala is still there.
Dybala is
I think
still
they're
around.
managing they're trying to manage his injury situation, not at least to allow him space off game time, not playing every single match, and then keeping the other teams through. I think he's doing a very good job in keeping this Roma team up there, at least for now.
Let's finish off the day with some action from the German Bundesliga. Bayern Munich were up against Freiburg. It was a game where they went down by 2-0 very early on. They responded in a resounding manner. 6-2 is how the game eventually ended. Michael Olise was doing whatever it is he wanted on that pitch. Let's get the highlights of that game. Michael Olise, really, it was his game. A couple of assists, a couple of goals. He did it all. Let me just take concluding thoughts from you guys on that one. Like I said earlier, they are meeting Arsenal in midweek. Huge game.
That is what I want to see. Having watched Arsenal today put 4 past Spurs, and Bayern put what? 6 past their
Freiburg,
opponent, Freiburg. Let's see what happens. It's on Tuesday or Wednesday?
And that's on Tuesday.
I think that's on Tuesday.
No, I think Wednesday. I think it's after the Barcelona.
I'll just confirm that for you.
So I want to see, but Arsenal will be licking their lips because Bayern did show that on the set piece.
Yeah,
they
2
are
corners.
not the best. 2 corners, 2
And
goals.
we know what
we
Arsenal
are
know how
coming
to
to the
do.
masters of the game when it comes to that. So look, I think everything is set. Arteta against Vincent Kompany.
Yeah. Thoughts on Kompany and what he's doing really quickly before we wrap it up.
I think magical. The way he's getting the team to play in the way you want them to play. They're getting the results. They are in the attacking teams, just like the Bayern fans who like it. But I think my only problem with them is the defensive rates. And I think that against a team like Arsenal, they both have the potency up front. But I think where it's going to count for Arsenal is who is more solid at the back. And I think that for Arsenal, they seem to be the better defensive team in Saliba, and even in times where they don't have Gabriel, they still have. We saw is it how do you call it? The one who came in.
Mosquera.
No, Mosquera. Someone played.
So they've had
Yeah, there was this guy.
Hincapi, Hero Hincapi,
yes. So he came and did a good job.
Arsenal
So
have like
they
six.
have-
They have like 6 like starting
they
caliber
have
centre
depth.
backs.
They actually have depth. So I think that is why
Crazy.
they seem to have the edge over Bayern
Yeah.
in the defensive areas.
But let me just advise them.
Yeah.
Having punished Spurs, Bayern are coming with a former Spurs player who will be hurting.
Mr. King,
He will be ready to
revenge.
do a revenge on them. So they have to be very careful.
That's
Very
true.
careful
That's
indeed.
true.
Let me read a few messages to finish up. This one says, watching you live in Mali, Bamako. Greetings to coach, and we should expect tomorrow. What should we expect tomorrow? Because this year, the champions are playing. Glory, glory, Man United. Oh, you mean the
We are
champions
winning.
will be playing
We are
tomorrow?
winning. We are winning. Man United will beat Everton tomorrow.
This one says, tell Dennis to expect a Lamine Pomentin game at the bridge on Tuesday from Simplicity. With that one. So the battle lines are drawn. Somebody says United, the future champions are playing tomorrow. Somebody too says that Lamine is about to torment. Thank you very much, coach. Thank you very much, Dennis. Thank you guys for making time to watch the show and also for sending in your thoughts. We appreciate it. Same time next week, Scorecard will be back here on Channel 1 TV.